Hello, everybody. Welcome to our class. We're so very, very happy to see you. And see, I can see you and you can see me, but I'm very happy that you joined us today. Um, I just want to let you know that we are broadcasting this from my living room, actually, in Palm Springs, California. And we have some new software, so bear with us because this is a new process for us. We hope you all will enjoy what we're going to be doing today. I want to give a special shout out to Jennifer, who's helping us so much from Florida, and Mike, Tornado Mike. You all know who he is. He's helping us from Oklahoma, and then of course Alfred is here, and he's doing a fabulous job getting all this put together. I also want to say that Bella's with us today, and I will be introducing her to those of you who don't know her. The topic of today is going to be relationships of all kinds. I want to talk about relationships with self, relationships with others, relationships with spirit. And these are very, very, very important as you proceed to get through life. Okay. I think of all of them, I really love the relationships with yourself. What is self actually? Well, it's the spirit in you. Remember, you're just a little, I like to call you baby spirits in human form. It's your soul, it's your true self. Many people call it many things, but the essence of self is always pure spirit. Okay? Pure spirit. Spirit encompasses mind, body, and soul all working together. It is very difficult, people, to have a relationship with anyone or anything without first having the relationship with yourself, because it is, again, the single most important relationship of yourself. You know, no one else completes us. We are complete. We are already whole. So always remember, please, you are enough. Okay? It is difficult to have a strong relationship with others, or for that matter, spirit, until you have a stable and loving relationship with yourself. That's the key. When the spirit looks at you, all they see is that beautiful essence of spirit in you. That's what they see. They don't see if you're skinny or you're heavy or you're one color or another color. They don't see any of that. They don't see if you're young or you're old. They see that baby essence, that pure spirit of who you are. So learning to love the self is extremely important. Uh, you may find yourself in when we talk about others, relationships with others. For some of you have said to me, I keep being drawn to the same kind of relationship over and over and over again. And, they're problematic relationships. Why? Why do I do that? It's because part of the you that you don't love is reaching out to fulfill something from another. Do you, for instance, have similar issues with different partners? Do you keep drawing to you the same kind of relationship over and over and over again, wondering what hit me? What's wrong? Why do I keep doing this to myself? I had one lady say to me the other day, she said, Hansi, she said, I've had the same kind of relationship over and over for 40 years. She said, and I've had a whole bunch of relationships in that 40 years, but they're always the very same. Do you have issues with your parents? Well, when we come into this life, we come in through certain people that we have chosen to present us with lessons, okay? And those people are often our parents. One of the things that I think is very, very, very important is that we not blame our parents for our difficulties. Now, I know that sounds a bit crazy, folks, but remember something. You ask them, okay? You chose them. They didn't choose you. You chose them. They said, okay, we'll do what we can do. But do you have issues with your parents? Yeah, I did. Many of my friends have. But there comes a certain point in life where you say, thank you for those lessons. I choose this day not to be a victim of that, not to be a victim of my husband, not to be a victim of my wife, not to be a victim of my boss. I choose this day. See, these are internal relationship issues. Do we draw the same kind of problematic relationships? Do we have similar issues with different partners? Yes, yes. Do we have issues with parents? Yes. Are you a victim? And there's where we really begin to do the internal work. Are you a victim? Have you allowed yourself to become a victim? What is a victim? I believe a victim is someone who believes that they had or have no control over issues that cause them pain. That cause them pain. And when you understand and truly get that you are not a victim, if you say to yourself, all of you out there, we're going all over the world today, and if each and every one of you say, from this day forward, I am no longer a victim of anything in my life. My God loves me unconditionally. Now watch this stuff up here. You know I'm famous for the mind chatter. That mind chatter is going to come in and it's going to try to prove to you that you are a victim. It's going to try to prove to you that God doesn't love you. It's going to try to prove to you that your parents caused all your pain. It's going to try to prove to you that something else made you pick those relationships that didn't work in your life. It's the mind chatter, people. The mind chatter. I said the other day, and I got a big laugh to a group, I said, if you want to be fearful of anything in your life, be afraid of the person that you look at in the mirror. That's the person who causes you the pain. Okay? So oftentimes we get so frustrated with everything that's going on, we start to blame God and yell at God. I've yelled at God before. I'm not ashamed to say that. When I didn't have a clear understanding of something, or I was feeling a victim or painful, all of those things that we're dealing with today, I blamed God a lot. I learned that God had nothing to do with it. I've always told you that in the little book, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen says, it's important to remember that they themselves are makers of themselves. Okay? What you want to seek in relationships, starting with yourself, through your parents, your friendships, through your work partners, you want to find peace, happiness, joy, bliss, and love. And that all starts inside of you. Okay? All of it. So if you find yourself in any of the issues above, from the types of relationships you have to similarities and partners, do you have issues with parents? Are you a victim? Do you blame God? If you find yourself going into any of these things, stop for a moment and say, wait a minute. You know what? I'm going to look at this different from this day forward. The class is going to teach you how to get over yourself and out of your way. Okay? That's what we're here to teach you today. Getting over yourself. How somebody said to me, well, you know, Hansi, how do I have a relationship with myself? Well, step one, remove the junk stuck inside yourself. This is something else. We have so much stuff, kids, stuck inside of ourselves that we believe is real. If I have a glass and I want a glass of water, and I put it under the sink, I turn the water on. At some point, I have to turn the water off, or the entire glass overflows because there's no more room in the glass for water. So the junk or the stuff that we accumulate inside of ourselves is so powerful that it reaches a maximum. And when it reaches the maximum, all your life then begins to bounce off of that. Nothing happens because there's no place for you to grow, because you have no place to store any new stuff. So letting go letting go. This is the key. Go inside of yourself and find a painful situation and stop for a minute and say, is this true? Did this actually happen? Or is it my mind's perception of what happened? Let's say a parent said something to you that was very painful. Let's remember something. Is it true what they said? If it isn't, it's only their opinion, kids. And just because they're our parents does not always make them right. For more information on the mind shatter, you can go to, in this exercise, in my psychic development class, you'll find a whole section in there on how to deal with mind shatter. But mind shatter is so huge and so important that it literally affects everything. But going into the mind through all of the painful spots and asking yourself, is this true? And if it isn't, say to Spirit, I choose from this day forward not to hold this. And remember something, some of the most painful things in your life are expectations that you had of others. Expectations that you needed to hear something. Expectation that someone needed to do something for you. When they didn't do it, you became a victim of that, and they became the devil of the piece. That's not true, folks. That's not true. Keep that in mind. Our expectations get in our way. Build self-esteem. How do we build self-esteem? By acknowledging that we are the nicest person we know. Not listening to that mind chatter as it hacks us down every morning and looks in the mirror. You ever notice that when you look in the mirror rarely ever says back to you, oh my goodness, you're the nicest looking person I've seen today. Oh, I love you so much. What do you want to do today? Oh, we're going to work? Okay, well, let's take a different route to work. Let's go a different route on the way home from work. Let's stop and sit in the park. Let's do something different. Let's give us a little treat. Okay? So building self-esteem means loving yourself and realizing you are enough. What if you woke up tomorrow morning and you found out that just who you are in this moment is in fact enough for God? There's nothing you needed to do, no one you needed to become, nothing you needed to accomplish, nothing. You already were enough for God. And by cracky people, if you're enough for God, you're enough for yourself. Okay? So steps 1 and 2 are ongoing and will support each other. Okay? Removing relationship junk from inside yourself. When you set out on your path in life, you're going to run into temporary obstacles. There are going to be things that happen, but we can't use those as an excuse to beat ourselves with. For instance, a gentleman came into my office a while back and he said, Hansi, I've lost my job. And I said, congratulations. And oh my goodness, he was all of a doodah. Oh, how could you say that? That's not true. Oh my. I said, because you didn't like that job anyway. He says, no, I didn't. But I said, why would you want to stay someplace where you didn't want to be? He said, well, I wanted the right to let go of it. But he said, I wanted to do it in my own timing. And I said, well, how long has that been now? He said, about 10 years. So then he started to laugh and see what we were talking about. I said, you set up a situation where you were saying to Spirit, I would like to move on past this, but basically I don't know how. So they just finally just helped you to let go of it. And he's gone on to form a little company and he's doing quite well. Temporary obstacles can be tremendous growth points for all of us. Our perception of whatever it is, our perception is not always correct. Okay? So part of Spirit's plan for you is obstacles. Obstacles. Because there will be a lot of obstacles in your life, folks. If you take it and say, okay, my glass is going to be half full on this issue, not half empty. then you will climb through each obstacle. And each time you climb through it, you grow stronger. You become a better person for yourself. There may be issues that arise that are caused by ourselves. Sometimes we not knowingly create some kind of an obstacle in our life. Our thinking. Here, I'll give you an example. This person at work doesn't like me. Let's say it's your boss, okay? Or your supervisor. Say, this person doesn't like me. Now, you don't know for certain that the person doesn't like you, but they're not very nice to you. They're not giving you the kind of expectation from them that you need. So when they don't give you the kudos, when they don't give you these situations, you begin to build up this animosity, the resentment. They must not like me. I can lose my job. I had one gentleman that did this so much, and he was certain that his boss didn't like him. And he would come to see me and say, "Why am I being fired?" I said, "You're not being fired." So the most important thing that I said to him was, "How do you know he doesn't like you?" He says, "Well, in his actions." His review came up several months later. And in the review, the boss gave him a huge pat on the back. Said, "You're doing a great job." Came up to see him. And he said to the boss, "I thought you didn't like me." He said, "Oh, no, that's just my mannerisms. Don't take it personally." But for months and months and months, he had done all of this stuff in his head about how the boss couldn't like him. Okay? The most difficult obstacles, children, that come up in our life are the ones that we create. Now, hear me through on this. Remember, there's nothing going on in your life today you did not create. Nothing. You live where you chose to live. You're in the work you chose to be in. Whether you like it or not is another matter. That's irrelevant. But the most important thing that you should know is that you have the control and the power over everything in your life. I mean everything. Literally. If you don't like the direction your life is going, change it. I did. Alfred did. Change it. And you say, I can hear people saying, "Well, how?" Stop funding energy to what doesn't work anymore. Make a list tonight of all the things you don't want in your life anymore, all the things you don't want to fund energy to. And if you're dreadfully honest, that could even be a relationship, your parents, it could be your job, it could even be your children sometimes. You know, just because they're your children doesn't mean they're perfect. Sorry. Doesn't mean that at all. So on your path in life, the most important thing you're going to face, most important, is the obstacles you put in your own path. Now we're going to talk now about self-created blocks. Have you ever asked yourself when you have a fear, where did that come from? What is going on with that? Why am I feeling that I am helpless on this issue? Almost all major blocks in your life come out of one subject: self-esteem, or the value of your own soul. And your mind chatter, in order to protect you from its own thoughts, begins to build a defense mechanism. And then it even tries to prove that it's right in the first place. See, I told you that would happen. See, I told you they didn't like you. Not everyone, folks. This was a big shock to me when I was a young man. I thought everybody liked me. I had a big problem with that when I found out that everyone didn't like me. And that wasn't my problem. That was their problem. And I learned that. Your perception is brought on by your mind's inability to see the truth. The mind's inability to see the truth. When I look outside and I see my roses and my flowers here, rather than let my mind sometime just go to look at it, I start thinking, oh, looks like there may be some beetles or some bugs. Rather than just being in the moment of look how beautiful the flowers are. I took these today from the garden. Our perception, how we view things, is tainted by our mind's inability to love and be in truth. It keeps setting expectations over and over and over again. The bottom line to all of this is, do you in fact love yourself enough to be happy with who you are? Just who you are, not what you have become, not what you're going to become, just who you are in the moment. You are enough.